Hello, everyone. Welcome to the I Will Aim podcast. Our topic for today is becoming, and I have a special guest, Alaina. Author Alaina Maria Washington lives loud and she always had a love for the arts. Alaina passionately writes music that soothe the ear and calm the soul. She recorded and copyrighted her music collection, Alaina's Songs, and she has also sung on her album, Song of the Lord. Elena's pen is unmatched as she skillfully writes fiction, urban fiction, poetry, sci fi, journals, devotional, romance, and children's book. Elena is also a first rate, in demand motivational speaker who traveled this great country sharing her message of becoming. She articulates speaks while motivating the youth and adult alike. Her powerful words of insight encourage, fortify, and build the listener. She delivers style in both captivating and life changing. In addition, Elena is preparing to launch her candle line and t-shirt line. Elena is the youngest of three girls. She is a native Daytona Beach, Florida. She is the mother of two beautiful daughters who fuels her everyday life. If Elena is not writing, singing, or creating, she is found traveling with her children. The world is her playground. Welcome, Elena.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let me start with the first question. Can you share your journey?
Share my journey? Absolutely. Becoming as a whole is Alaina Maria. I am my early 40s, and I literally started this journey at 42 years old. I am about to be 44 this year. And this journey started from a place of brokenness, from a place of pain. My uncle randomly passed away one day. We just found him. And that grief was insurmountable. I didn't know where to place it. I had been in this situation before when I lost my 6-month-old child. And it took me years to find myself. You know, I had a mask on. I looked great on the outside, but on the inside, I was a broken woman. But when I felt myself getting to that place again when my uncle died, all of that healing, seemed to become undone. But this time I had two little girls looking up at me. So in January, he died in December of 2022. In January 2023, I sat on my couch and the idea of my debut novel, Mariah, came to mind. I'd written music, sang all my life, and I started writing. And then in 6 months, I produced Mariah. And then from there, I started my journey of motivational speaking, reminding people that you can become from right now. Here I am in my 40s where people say that's a little late to start, but absolutely not. And this, from that day to now, the opportunities and the ways that I was able to grow and become as an artist and all of the different things that I've participated in has been mind blowing. So that's why it's so personal to me. So that's how my journey began, from a place of brokenness. It broke my heart, but it
It's
fixed my
very
vision.
inspiring, right? It started from something challenging and you were able to
Yes.
rise above that. And you mentioned, like, so for some people they would say 40 years old or 42 years old is too late, but the reality is there's not really a timeline. We all are in our own journey. And the way you started when you were 42 and to up
Absolutely.
to where you are now, you're 44, it's very impressive. The amount of accomplishment, it's like a
Yes.
lifetime accomplishment compacted into 2 years. So welcome and really want to unpack the concept of becoming for my audience. I want to go to the shout out section. I think every episode I started adding a shout out section for myself and for you too. For myself, I want to shout out to a gentleman named Rakesh Nayapati. He is a mentee of mine. We've been working together for about 10 years or more. And he's now the president of the Toastmaster Club. So really want to shout out Rakesh Nayapati. And who do you want to shout out to?
As always, ever lovely Annette L. Anderson, who is my mother, who is also an author and a speaker. So the apple does not fall far from the tree. So I want to shout out my mom for just making sure to be a great mom and instilling, all of the love and kindness and helping me to be a better woman. So Annette L. Anderson, much love,
Thank
mom.
you. Thank you. That's a heartwarming shout out. Let's start with the first question about your journey. Can you share a pivotal moment
Okay.
of experience that inspired you to pursue a career in writing, motivational speaking, and music? Because that's like, a trifecta.
Absolutely. Well, it was moments in time for me, not just a moment. Like I just was speaking of earlier, I always sang as a little girl in church. I was, early on leading songs, and then recording, and naturally that comes with writing. But I had never tipped over into the writing novels, and again, when my uncle passed away, he left such a strong legacy. He had so many goals and dreams and plans that were never realized. And when he died, I made a decision that I would give the grave none of my potential. I always say the grave has the most potential because there's so many people in there with so much untapped talent for whatever reason, whatever happened in life for them to not, cultivate whatever was inside of them. When my uncle left here, he left such a strong mark. I made the choice. I will not give the grave my talent. I will leave here with a legacy for my children to realize whether they start soon as they graduate high school, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond, they can become. And so his death thrusted me into this place of writing. Never written a novel before, but like I say, in 6 months, and then just me realizing who I was and my potential, started motivational speaking. And so, um, just being who I was, you said the trifecta, just being what was instilled in me, the gift of singing, that was already the base. His loss thrusted me into another level to start writing. And then through writing and realizing, hey, you have a gift, it empowered me to start speaking. So that, completed that triangle,
Wow,
that trifecta
impressive,
in my
very
life. Yes.
impressive. I read that you dub yourself
Yeah,
a 360 author. How did you cultivate that passion? And can you share the story behind it?
absolutely. So I've always been a reader, but never a writer. But I had the music writing. Mariah just came to me out of nowhere. I have no idea. The story just popped into my head. I'm like, I'm going to write a book. Okay. Sat down and started writing. And then I come from a rich culture of the arts. My mother is a speaker and a writer. My oldest sister is an awesome poet and writer. So those talents that I was sitting on, they just started pulling out of me. And so I would sit down and be writing. I was like, oh, I got to stop. I hear this poem. Oh, I have to stop. Have this book. So everything just started just pouring out of me. And when it comes to like the journals and the motivational speaking, it helped to fortify who I was as a speaker by writing those journals of becoming and healing. I have the 10-part healing journal. I also have the motivational book called Becoming, which supports my platform. So when something's inside of you, when you're open to pull it out, it comes out. I wanted to make sure I didn't stand in my own way. And I will say, it takes research as well. I made sure to read the genre that I'm writing. I don't want to just, oh, you got talent, right? And then the people who, support that genre, they're like, this doesn't make sense. It's not flowing. So I made sure to read and study and make sure that I understood the genre before you just jump out there, So just want to make sure I'm excellent in everything that I do and putting my best foot forward and respecting the art. Not just to say, oh, I can write this. No, but respecting the genre, respecting the readers, respecting those who have gone before me and gleaning and learning. And through that, I'm able to put out quality
It's really
work. So,
impressive the way you even say, okay, it's not just because I have a talent and I should be doing it. You're studying and you're respecting the
yeah,
genre to make sure that it fits properly. That's very impressive
yes,
because sometimes people said you do a freestyle and just do it your way, right? But you're very, very methodical in making sure it also belongs in that area. So that's really impressive. And the other part is things like it seems to be like a
yes.
transformation. You have a self discovery and step by
Oh, yeah.
step you move from one to another and create this plethora of skills that you have and gifts that you have to your community. So that's very impressive. So my next question is what are some of the key messages or theme that resonate throughout your work, like a pattern throughout your work? And how do you believe they impact the audience?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so my first novel that I wrote is called Mariah, and it's an urban fiction novel, and it's a book about a young woman who, on the outside, is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. When you see her I want to be like her. And when I wrote it, I thought about the times that we're in now. Everything
Yes.
is so social media driven. Look, you would think everybody's beautiful. You would think everyone's rich. You would think everyone has the perfect husband. You would think everyone have the perfect wife. And we pit ourselves and our lives against this virtual reality. It's not real. You know, everyone has issues. Everyone has struggles. Everyone have trials, tribulations. No one is exempt. Everyone puts their pants
Yep.
on one leg at a time. So when I wrote Mariah, yes, it's an urban fiction novel. Yes, it is. You know, and some people aren't into urban fiction, but if you happen to read the book, a book outside of your norm, you'll be able to see how this young woman who looked beautiful on the outside, but inside, the brokenness, the pain. Her husband Keith, once Mariah's father died early in the novel, and once he died, she realized her husband was just an onion dipped in chocolate. He was nothing more than a bitter surprise. She was just simply arm candy to him, and when her protection left, that's when he swole his shoulders. So it just shows the ebbs and flows of her life. And she made some decisions that we may not make, but everything we read, we can learn from. Will I do that or will I not? So to answer your question, across all of my books, it's always about self-discovery, healing, finding me. And in the process of finding me, everyone doesn't make the best decisions. You know, we would love to say, oh, I found me and I became better. That is not the truth. Look at the world around us. We have all type of people in this world who, you know, have different situations in life, and some come out victorious and some don't. And that is just the harsh reality of it. So Mariah, she may not come out so victorious, but the theme and the stories in the book, people can relate to and see how, you know, I may not have been Mariah, but I can live, you know, my family member have experienced some of the things Mariah has. And then in my healing journals, the same thing, how it translates to Mariah, you have to see you in these journals. You have to put in the work. You know, I provide a little bit of context in the beginning, but you have to start writing and addressing you. And one of the journals in particular, which was really hard for me to write, was it's a 10-part journal series, Healing From, and it's healing from 10 different topics, but the one was healing from me. And when I wrote that journal, and I actually went through what I wrote, I had to see me in all of that. And sometimes facing you is not the best feeling in the world, because there's a
Yep.
lot of beauty in us, but then there's, I won't say ugliness, but there's some, you know, some creepy crawlies in there that we have to address. Or if you want to address and become better, and you hear the thing becoming, and if you want to become better and grow and find another gear in life, you gotta do that self work, or else you'll be an imposter and eventually it comes out in your work, you know. And who wants to run around as an imposter? Who you are comes out eventually. It's just better to be yourself.
I love the message, and I could really hear the trend of becoming throughout all the different stories and topic that you have.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm interested in knowing, can you
Yes.
share a behind the scene glimpse into your creative process from ideation to execution, especially when creating content that inspire and motivate others?
Absolutely. So I'm a living, breathing testament of becoming. This journey started, like I said, just a couple years ago. So I've been warp speed. I mean, life just came and said, take off. So when I'm writing, I have my YouTube on, and it's playing creativity
Hmm.
music in the background. When I'm writing and when I'm creating, I have that playing in the background to help, you know, settle my spirit. Because I still work a full-time job. I'm working on my way to full-time entrepreneurship, but in the meantime, I've had children. I have to be responsible. So I find ways to coexist with my children, because they're kids. You can't be quiet. You have to, you know, as a mother, find a way to coexist, still be a mom while being everything else. So my way of doing that is having the music on, which settles my spirit. Um, I also make sure I work off of a schedule and a calendar. That helps me to create. And then also, I always keep a notepad on me at all times. I have this little notepad, and when inspiration comes, or little nuggets or things in life happen, I jot it down real quick. Jot it down real quick. Jot it down. So I have a place to, you know, put that information. And not only that, just life lessons in my life, what things that I'm experiencing, things that I felt. Like I mentioned earlier, I lost my son at 6 months old. He was a micro preemie, never left the NICU. So I'm back and forth, staying at the Ronald McDonald House 6 months, and then he waited till I came, and he died. He waited on his mom. He saw me, and 5 minutes later, he died. He wouldn't leave without me. And a lot of times, certain songs, certain movies, certain things will trigger those feelings and those emotions. And so when I feel them, instead of losing myself, I journal, I write it down, and then I can translate it into my books and my writings, because everything that I do is to help, inspire, build, fortify. And I just want to make sure that everything I put out um, creates beauty, or I call it, what I like to say is beauty for ashes. That's my poetry book that'll be coming out later in the year. Beauty for ashes. We all have had
Hmm.
some ashes in our life, right? Some things that have burned. But out of that, through the ash, you can have some beauty bloom. So creatively, excuse me, I'm always journaling and writing and making sure when stuff is a fresh download from heaven, from the sky, from the universe, from life. I'm always journaling and making sure that I have those fresh downloads, because
Yeah.
there's a reason for it, right? When I open myself up to this, I ask for it, so I stay ready. Preparation is always key. I can be in the shower sometime. I'll jump out and grab my phone, say what I need to say, then jump back in. But always being ready and open. And that's how creatively, as it comes, I make sure to, take that freshness and put it on
Thank you
paper.
for sharing your creative process. Very inspiring.
Yeah,
And I what I
yeah,
love is how you prepare, how you take moments that happen to you in your life and channel them into inspiration. And I resonate with you
yes,
around there's nugget of information that floats from somewhere to you, because that happened to me too, and sometimes I don't even know what to
yeah,
do with it. But I would make a habit now of writing it in a notepad or somewhere, because often I would forget it later on when
yes,
I needed
yeah.
them. But that one I'll definitely do. My next question for you is: you're doing a lot of things, and you're in different like areas that you're working on. How do you stay motivated and inspired to make sure that you continue the pursuit of your journey?
Well, the motivation, that's
Oh,
the easy part for me. Every day when I think of my uncle, it reminds me of that potential that is lost. So when I think about my son, who was 6 months and never
hmm.
got the opportunity to grow into a man and live his life, I remember that when I see my children every day. I have a fifth and a sixth grader who are going through the ebbs
Hmm.
and flows of life, and issues at school or learning or a test too hard, and they come home with pulling their hair out. Oh, like, I recall all of those things and all the people that matter to me and all the things of life, and I put them together and I hold them close to my heart. And I remember that there are a group of people looking at me, looking up at me, standing beside me. And I have to. It is a commission for me to become everything that I need to become. Not only that, when I think about how from start to now where I am, I must be on the right track, right? Because like you said, in two years, a little shy of 2 years, I've experienced almost a lifetime of things, opportunities. I've been on Billboard. I want to move to New York, but I was in Times Square on a
Wow.
billboard. What? What is happening? So, exactly. So the things, the opportunities, the gratitude that I feel inside of me, I must continue. I must get this work out of me. The pull is so strong. I don't have an option to do anything but that. So that's how I stay
Wow, very
motivated.
impressive. I think at what I think is it, even you said it right. 2 years. The work that you did in 2 years is at times I could compare to people's lifetime of body of work, and therefore it really clearly
Mm-hmm.
shows the impact that you're having to the community in the world. That's why I'm so
Yeah.
excited to have you as a guest in my podcast, because my community needs to hear about
Yeah.
you and learn about you and learn the concept of how to use becoming as part of, as part of the process and learning about themselves.
Yes.
Can you share a memorable experience where you worked as an author, motivational speaker, or maybe as a singer, right? A song that you wrote has impacted someone personally.
Absolutely. So there is a song I wrote. It's called "In Love with the Altar." And this particular song is about, I'm a believer. Some of the audience may not be believers, but whatever it is, the altar doesn't have to be the church, but that place. Some people, their altar is their car, where they just sit in their car and breathe, or the shower. But the song "In Love with the Altar" is about a person who said their heart is ready for healing. Their spirit's open for amending. I fall in love with the altar where I cast my cares, the place where you can go and cast your cares and just leave them there for a moment. And there was a young lady, a choir sang it, and it was like, Alaina's here. She's a writer. I was like, thank you, for the accolades or whatever. But afterwards, she came to me and she was like, that song ministered to me so much. And she was like, of course, you know what to do, but sometimes in the right moment, just hearing it again, it helps fortify you and helps you to be okay just a little while longer. And so when she came to me and said the lyrics of those songs just made her feel so much better, I went home and I cried, but happy tears, because I remember the season when all my tears were of sadness and brokenness and grief and heartbreak. But this time, something that was given to me and I was able to birth out of me and release into the world. And it is actually going and touching the lives, which is what we want it
Mhm.
to do when we produce. We don't just want to say, hey, I did this. That's great, but is there any impact behind it? I don't want to just be a puff of wind. Okay, but the wind did what? Did it cool anybody off? you know? So her just that made me feel so good, just to know that something that was downloaded and was able to release was a blessing to someone else. So that was a beautiful moment for me. And again, I cry happy tears, and I just sat on my little couch in my bedroom. I have a little couch, and I just sat and rocked like an old lady and smiled and cried. I was just so proud, of the results. It's not all about results, but I'm telling you, when someone says, I appreciate your work, it makes you feel so good. I don't do it for an attaboy or attagirl or pat on the back, but I declare, when you get that validation, it does help, and it makes you feel better, and it encourages you to keep
And it
going.
also meant that you touched someone's life. And even I said to one of my
Absolutely.
friend many years ago, why do you do what you do now? I said, I do what I do now because if what I
Mhm.
said or what I do touch someone's heart, and if someone's having a challenging day and that message came across and helped them
Yeah.
move along, one person is all I wanted. It's one person, right? And if you did that, I did
Yes.
my God's work, and I said that's good enough for me. So that's why I continue to do what I'm doing. So it really
Absolutely.
really impressed. It really impressed with that inspiring story that you shared. I w Can you
Yeah.
share the projects that you're working on right now, and if anyone wants to reach out to you to invite you to be a speaker, like how do they reach out to you?
Okay. Well, the projects that I'm working on right now, the 10-part healing journal comes out May 1st. Woohoo! So I'm super excited about that. I actually am so thrilled. I am officially an international motivational speaker. I was I have a platform in Africa. I'll be speaking at a virtual conference. So I just, again, mind blowing. So that's coming up next Saturday. I'll be speaking at that conference. As well as I'm a part of a anthology that'll be coming out this June, and all of the different books that I have coming out. I mean, I'm moving and shaking. Speaking opportunities, different podcasts. So I got a lot going on. But if you would love to know more about Alaina Maria, it's alainamaria.com is my web address. ALLAINAMARIA.com, and that's for all things Alaina Maria. But I am just constantly creating, growing, becoming, building, shaping. Um, and also, this last little thing that I am so excited to share is my Mariah, my debut urban fiction novel. I am officially a screenwriter. I am in the process of making the movie of Mariah, and I am just floored. I just cannot believe the opportunities. I'm so excited. We're in the beginning stages of doing table reads for the different actors, but you just oh my God. I'm just excited to add that another thing as a screenwriter.
Oh
Like
my
I'm just
goodness.
humbled.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
you're a role model for people who think that they started late. It's never too late. I think it's the message, right? What I would do is
Never.
I'll put a link
Absolutely.
of your website onto my post when I release this episode. Next one is, do you have something you'd like to share with the audience? Maybe a concept, an idea.
Concept and idea that I'd like to share with the audience. Well, it would make sense to stay right on theme. You already have what it takes inside of you to become. That's a fact. The key is to put in the work to cultivate those gifts. Don't be afraid of those gifts. If it's something outside of your norm or what you, people may say, why are you doing that? It's not about people, it's you understanding your why. So, whatever that gift is, whatever those dreams are, that thing you think about when you go to bed at night, and when you wake up in the morning, you can see yourself being that thing. Those things that you have never told anyone, that thing, go and get it because it's calling to you and it needs you to answer. It's knocking. Open the door, take the first step, and begin and become, and watch how much better you feel about yourself. Remember, we are a party of one. We can worry about the world around us. I mean, and to a degree, we need to know how to enjoy the world. But at the end of the day, the still of the night, it's you and your thoughts. What will you do? Will you answer the call or will you stay stagnant?
What a powerful message. I would end this podcast with
Yes.
that message. Alaina Maria, thank you very much. I'm really honored to have you on my episode today. Thank you very much for coming to my podcast. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.